Hi, I'm Ann from Pixologie. I'm here to help you with the next steps to creating your family photo estate. If you haven't seen our previous videos, please subscribe to our Pixologie channel on YouTube and go back and catch up so that you know where we're at. Today we're tackling a whole different part of the project. And the part we're tackling today is working with those wonderful old magnetic or sticky photo albums. We talked before about the fact that there is no good reason to save these albums. They're literally eating your pictures. So keeping them and preserving them, just not worth it. If the cover itself means something to you, which the word album probably does not, then go ahead and take a picture of it and you can use that as part of your collection. Most of the time, we just care about what's inside. So, let's get started in how to remove your photos from a magnetic album. The first thing we need to do once we get our album is assemble some tools that might be helpful in this process. One of the tools that we use regularly is dental floss. This helps us pull underneath the pictures and lift them up from the pages. Another tool that you can go and grab maybe from a garage is really a mason's trowel. And this allows us to get underneath some of the larger pictures and really be able to lift them up safely. Smaller tools include things like this tiny spatula. You may have one in your crafting supplies. And if not, one of our favorites, and I don't have it right here right now, is a Pampered Chef bar server. It's a little square spatula, a little bit larger than this one, but what's really nice is it has the same super thin edge. Finally, you will need a good sharp pair of scissors. So we've got our tools, and we're ready to dig in. Now we talked before about what photos you might want to keep and not keep from an album, but in this case, because there's a variety of people all the way through the book, we're going to assume we want to remove every picture. First step is removing the plastic sleeve, and that's pretty easy. And you can pull that off from both sides right away, and that's going straight in the garbage. Sadly, most of this is PVC plastic, which is not recyclable. Next, we look at the pages. And you can kind of tell with your pictures right away just by bending the page a little bit and seeing, is there an edge? You can start to tell if these photos are going to come off easily or not. Can you hear that wonderful sound? These are going to slide off very easily. So I'm going to take my nice big trowel and just help slide very gently with the picture. And we keep going as we work it loose. Now with a smaller picture, I might be more likely to use the dental floss at this point. With this large picture, we're able to remove it completely intact and look for clues on the back of our picture that will be important to us later. So on this one, there's actually a date, kind of a bonus when we pull it out. So we're gonna set it aside and we're gonna continue down our page. And I know that because the first one came off easily, you would assume the next one will, but guess what? This one's not quite so excited about coming out, and it's really, really stuck. And if I push too hard, what's going to happen is this is going to slide right through and cut into my picture. That would be a catastrophe. Maybe not right here, because we could get rid of all that sky, but I could also do damage to this lovely picture. So I might choose to try and go with a smaller spatula, but I'm still not able to really get it underneath there. So the next step would either be the dental floss. One of the steps you might have heard from other people is using a hair dryer. At Pixologie, that is not one of our recommended choices because hair dryers can easily overheat, causing the photo to curl and cause more damage to the emulsion, the surface of your picture. So we are not fond of that. If you are convinced that's a great choice, make sure your hairdryer is set on low and cool, and that might be able to help. Not really sure. But what I would do at this point, because this is stuck, and I don't want to do any damage to these pictures on the other side, is remember we're not saving the book. So we're going to remove this page right out of the book. And you're wondering, why would that help? Most magnetic albums have pages that are double layered. And in fact, this one is stuck together so tightly, I'm not even sure I can separate the layers. But what I do once I have that page removed is I now have the ability to start removing the page from the picture. What does that mean? I want this picture to come off of the page. So I'm going to turn it upside down, and I can use my spatula or even just my fingers to hold on to it. And I'm gonna start pulling the page back. Now, what happens when you try to pull pictures off of a page? You pull at a corner and you go like this and you end up with this curled up picture that's almost shaped like a C. It's very hard to get flat again. And you also may tear some of the backing. Remember, we were looking for those dates. So when I'm pulling here, what's gonna give is the page, not the photo. So I'm just gonna keep pulling, and sometimes it lets go really quickly. And again, perfectly removed. I would say that of all the tips that we have given to people over the years on getting your photos out of a magnetic album, removing the page from the photo is probably one of my absolute favorites. Over the years, we've been able to preserve hundreds of photos, probably thousands, by this simple technique. When you're done, again, garbage. We move that away and continue down through your photo collection in your album. So you're removing the next piece of plastic and you're starting again. Now some of you may be wondering, when you talk about dental floss, how do I actually use it? So let's give you an example of that. I can tell by the feel of this book, it's one of the unfortunate ones. What does unfortunate mean? Well, there are magnetic albums that when you tip them up and give them a good shake, the pictures start falling out. Those are ones to celebrate. This isn't one of those. We know that these pictures are really, really well adhered to the page. So I'm gonna try and get underneath the corner. I managed to get one corner up on this one. And it really doesn't want to go a lot farther. What I'd like to do is get at least one long side, which may not happen. So I find that dental floss works best when I pull it towards me, but it is, again, a slow, steady process. You do not have to buy expensive dental floss. This is not the time that you need reach, because we're not really trying to remove crumbs between teeth. We're trying to get underneath the photo, and we're just gonna wiggle it back and forth and let it walk its way through. You may find if you're doing a lot with these that you may want to put a round of tape or a Band-Aid on your fingers, because they can get really sore pulling this all through. But we're just going to keep walking it through, and voila! We have the next picture removed. And this is all from the same event, which is kind of neat because the date then all matches, and we know it's all 73. But then if you can see, our next picture looks like it's definitely not on a ship. So when we start organizing, we'll be able to separate these. Just because they're in your album in a particular order does not mean that they are in order chronologically. In fact, we find that that is the exception rather than the rule. What happens so many times is you had more than one camera, or you had pictures that were developed at one time, you put them in the album, and then you had another set developed, and they came long after the first one. So this picture also says July of 73, but when we start sorting, we know that it's not going to go in front of this one. So as we continue through this process, we are going to keep removing from every page. And look, here we go back again. We're back to the tumblers in the next page. And then it looks like we go to a family reunion. So there's a lot of special stories captured in here. And until we get through the whole book, we'll decide then which ones we want to keep and which ones we want to let go. But we do know that this lovely, annoying album itself is not going to be around to bother us anymore. If you have more questions or thoughts on how to get pictures out of these magnetic albums or any album, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can leave a comment down below on YouTube and we'll certainly respond to that. or however else you've been able to access this video. The best way, though, is to go to YouTube, subscribe to Pixologie, and follow our series on how to create a family photo estate. Success. One album done.